My neighbor rang my doorbell and asked, "Can you explain why you trim your lawn with scissors at 3:30 in the morning every Saturday?" I froze mid-sip, my tea hovering inches from my mouth, staring at Mr. Caldwell through the mesh of my screen door. "I don't trim my lawn with scissors," I said flatly. "That's ridiculous." He shifted his weight on my porch, pulling his cardigan tighter against the early morning cold. "Well, someone does. Every Saturday, like clockwork. There's this snip, snip, snip sound coming from your yard. It goes on for hours. My wife and I haven't slept properly in weeks." I looked past him at my front lawn. It was normal, neatly cut, straight lines, clearly done with a standard electric mower, same as every other yard on Willow Creek Lane. "Mr. Caldwell, I mow on Friday evenings," I said. "You've seen me do it plenty of times." His irritation faded into uncertainty as he followed my gaze. "But the sound is coming from here, I'd swear on it." "What exactly does it sound like?" I asked, stepping outside in my old sleep shorts. He mimed a careful cutting motion with 2 fingers, like someone trimming bonsai plants, slow, precise, snip, snip, snip. We walked toward my backyard, scanning the ground as if something might suddenly jump out at us. That's when I saw it. Near the back fence were dozens of small, perfectly cut circles in the grass, each one about 5 inches across, not scattered randomly, but arranged in deliberate, repeating patterns. The cuts were so clean they looked surgical. "I didn't do this," I said, my voice dropping. "The design would have taken hours, and I'd been asleep every Saturday morning for at least the last 2 months." I took photos with my phone while Mr. Caldwell stood silently behind me. The marks were too neat for animals, too controlled for any lawn tool, and far too intentional to be a prank. "Have you seen anyone back here?" I asked. He shook his head. "Our bedroom faces the street." I checked the rear gate next. The lock had faint scratch marks around it. Tiny flecks of metal glinted on the ground. Someone had been forcing it, carefully, repeatedly. My stomach tightened. I rushed inside and pulled up my home security logs. The backyard motion sensor had triggered every Saturday at 3:26 a.m., then again around 6:40 a.m. I'd ignored it, assuming it was raccoons or stray cats. But the pattern was exact, same times, every week. Someone knew my schedule, knew when I slept deepest. I called the police. Mr. Caldwell waited in my kitchen, both of us staring through the window at my lawn like it might move. Officer Reyes arrived shortly after and examined the yard and the gate. "This isn't random. This is repetitive, controlled behavior. Whoever's doing this has been planning it." He pointed out older damage on the lock I'd never noticed. "They've been coming here longer than you think." I felt exposed in a way I couldn't explain. Someone had been using my home while I slept, like I didn't exist. On the officer's advice, I changed every lock and installed motion-activated cameras across the backyard. 2 weeks later, the cameras caught everything. At exactly 23:27 a.m. on Saturday, a figure climbed over my fence and knelt in the grass, methodically cutting with a small pair of craft scissors. When I zoomed in on the footage later, my chest went hollow. It was my ex-partner, Aaron. The same Aaron I'd broken up with 9 months earlier after discovering he'd secretly recorded me inside my own bathroom. The same Aaron who'd promised he was done after I mentioned getting a restraining order. The same Aaron who apparently never returned the spare key to my back gate. The circles weren't decoration. When the police printed the images and laid them out in order, the patterns spelled words. Mine. Always. Still watching. Aaron was arrested the following Saturday, caught climbing the fence with scissors and a headlamp in his pocket. The investigation uncovered photos, notes about my daily routine, and plans that went far beyond lawn art. Aaron was sentenced to prison for stalking and trespassing. I got reinforced locks, better cameras, and the permanent awareness that sometimes the strangest noises in the dark aren't harmless at all.